there's really a lot of stuff going on out there that's way over the top, and that's what I was saying earlier. You know, I mean, if you really start beating the bushes on all the stuff that's going on, people run and hide behind the couch and break into a cold sweat because there's so much stuff going on. I mean, I don't really care what anybody says. There is a lot going on, and you really do have to have an open mind to look at it analytically and decide exactly what it is that you're looking at, because sometimes you're not ready for it, and if you're not ready for it, maybe you shouldn't go looking yet.
Well, you said that this whole journey for you began by looking at the images in the Hubble Space Telescope. I was curious as to how, back then, I know it's not available anymore, but was it a link on the Internet, or how were you able to get...
No, it was an Internet link from Boeing Aircraft Company in Seattle.
Okay.
And I can guarantee you one thing. If you think that the Boeing Aircraft Company are looking at a bunch of nonsense on the Internet, I can tell you right now you're dreaming, because they are anything that those people look at. They are so deep in bed with the Department of Defense and NASA and all the rest of those people. You just cannot believe how deep in bed all these people are together. And anything that's coming from them people that, that's the reason why they cut the line off and encrypted everything, was because too many people were watching, and that's exactly what my brother told me. He said too many people had got a link. There was a lot of people at Boeing that had accessory to, hand that link out to people, and they were letting their family and friends watch it, and they were watching stuff they didn't want the people to watch, and they just said, well, screw it, we'll cut the line and encrypt it, how many people do not remember the news reports about the space shuttle trip up to the because they just turned it off, and then they sent the space shuttle up there, put a new transmitter on it. They told everybody on the news that they had encrypted the transmissions from the Hubble. I mean, didn't anybody believe what they were hearing on TV? They didn't. They weren't hiding it then. They came right out and told everyone on national news, we're encrypting all the programs because we don't want the Russians and the Chinese intercepting this. Well, that was total BS. The only people they didn't want intercepting it was the American people.
Right. And what year was this? Well,
it was in 08.
When you started observing, and what year did they encrypt it?
Oh, we were, it was around 08 when they encrypted it. No, we were watching it in 04. That's what I was telling Terrell. The pictures that Marshall Masters uploaded from the South Pole telescope, those pictures were actually taken in 04. Those weren't taken in 08, because in 08, this thing looked like it was across the street. Those were old pictures. Wow. If they would have shown the pictures that you could have viewed in 08, people would be shitting in their pants right now. They really would. And I understand why they encrypted it, because this thing looked like it was across the street. There was no doubt in your military mind what you were looking at. And so they encrypted it, and that was the end of it. If the people in this country would wake up and realize the government does not have the right to make anything a secret from the American people. And I'll tell you the reason they don't. A, you paid for it. B, they are your employees. And C, they hand their secrets out to everybody in the world except the American people. Now, how big of a secret is if we tell some company in Japan how to make our secret submarine bearings, and they sell the secret to the North Koreans and the Russians? Now, that ain't much of a secret anymore, is it? But I can guarantee you it's a secret from the American people, because they classify everything. And the only reason they classify it and X everything out is so that the American people can't see it, because they're so in bed with the Russians and the Chinese and all the other people on this planet. I'm telling you, the only people that they aren't in bed with is the American people, and that's because they're already in bed. They're watching Oprah and eating bonbons.
Yeah.
That's the only reason the American people go along with that stupid crap of secrets.
True.
Yeah, what a free society.
Well, you know, the American people have been duped into believing all kinds of stupid stuff with just a little bit of analytical thought on what they're hearing and seeing, you know, would wake them up to the fact that those secrets are secrets from them. Everybody else knows. The CIA is Swiss and British, and they know everything there is to know about anything, and the NSA is the same way, and there's about 10 elite groups above that, and they all know what's going on. I mean, just exactly who is this secret being kept from anyway? They won't show it to Congress, they won't show it to the American people, but they sure don't have a problem with showing it to everybody else.
Yeah, that's my beef.
Arizona.
Yeah,
it's Tim here. How's it going?
Oh, okay. What's up, man?
Not much. We had Francis on earlier, and I would love to get you and him and Terrell on a show together because I think you guys all have great input, and I'd like to get some down to the truth. You know, I believe what you're saying is from what I gather, is that we all need to start preparing for whatever is behind Comet Elenin or coming from the south. What do you think?
Listen, let me tell you something. Ignore the Bible talking about the destroyer coming. Don't believe that. Don't believe the ancient Sumerians that wrote about it 5,000 or 10,000 years before NASA got a hold of it. Don't believe any of the old books like Enoch and all the rest of them. Don't believe any of the inscriptions that are on walls all over the planet. Don't believe anything about the pyramids, especially the ones where you can look at the water line where it was on the Great Sphinx, and the fact that it's embedded with all kinds of ocean crustaceans, and, just completely ignore 10,000 years of history and believe what NASA is telling everybody. Now, if you're willing to do that, you're not going to have a problem with what you're seeing with your own two eyes around this planet, okay? If you are a little more skeptical, as I am, you'll look around and you'll look at that 10,000 years of history, and trust me, NASA was not involved in any of that 10,000 years of history because I have not seen any place where it said NASA, okay? And you look at all the history, and just like that one guy that was saying earlier, if he was Sherlock Holmes, he's got all of these points that are documented, and they're not hundreds of points, they are thousands of points. And the problem with it all is that it all points in the same direction. Now, you don't have to believe anything that you see or hear, but I would suggest that you put on your Sherlock Holmes hat and you do like he's done. You take a look at all those points of information, and all of this Planet X stuff goes as far back as magazines were being printed in this country. It goes back. And then it goes back to being carved on stone walls before there were any printing presses where they could talk about it. And it goes back and back and back and back and back and back into history. And after you're done looking at everything, you really don't need anybody to tell you anything because the handwriting is literally on the wall. You know what I mean? It's literally on the wall.